From Whitney Media, 1460 WVOX, the Greenburgh Report with Greenburgh Town Supervisor Paul Feiner. You can join in the conversation at 914-636-0110. Now on 1460 WVOX, here's Greenburgh Town Supervisor Paul Feiner.
Hi, I'm Paul Feiner. I'm the Greenburgh Town Supervisor, and I'm participating remotely because my mom and sister, who I see every day, they tested positive for COVID, and I didn't want to get everybody sick. But we have a very special program. And Pauline Mosley, you're here, right? With Kent, Washington.
Yes.
And could you introduce Kent and yourself?
Yes, hi, good morning. This is Pauline Mosley. I'm co-host with Paul Feiner, and we're happy to have with us today Mr. Kent Washington, who has written a book called Kentomania, a black basketball virtuoso in communist Poland. So welcome to our show, and please tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to write this book.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity. I am born and raised in New Rochelle. I attended the New Rochelle School District from Barnard, Mayflower, Albert Leonard Junior High School to New Rochelle High School. Then I went to Southampton College on Long Island. And from there, I had a child with the Los Angeles Lakers, didn't make it, and went on to play in communist Poland. What compelled me to write the book was I was contacted by a Polish journalist in 2019. That was the 40th anniversary of me actually playing in Poland. And she spoke to me about my Polish basketball career. And after she asked me, did I realize the historical status I had in Poland, and I didn't really know what she was really referring to. And she told me that I'm the first American to play pro ball in their top league, and probably the first to play in any Soviet bloc country. So I did some research, contacted some East Bloc sports experts, and found out that that was true. So I began to write a memoir based on my the archives here. I have a lot of articles from that time, a lot of photos as well. I got a translator to translate the articles for me, and I commenced writing.
That is amazing. So you're not only the first African American, but you're the first American to play pro basketball behind the Iron Curtain.
Yes, that's true. I actually wear both hats.
Did your experiences receive a lot of media attention at that time?
There, yes. Here, a little bit, but there, incredible amount. I was previously there with my college for a tour in 1979, and that was when I actually got introduced to the Polish basketball and that. And after a 20-day, 7-game tour, we came back, and then I went back in 1979. So the city there knew what kind of player I was, and they were very enthusiastic when I was there with the college. So I was very, very comfortable with that. They would kind of recognize me again, and we got a lot of publicity. Yeah.
That is great. Chris, Pauline, do you have any other questions?
Yes, I do. In reading your book in Chapter 3, where you talk about nuts about basketball, it seems that your family cultivated this environment that propelled you to practice hard and be very disciplined, in addition to your siblings, Kurt, who is your older brother, who was 6 years older than you. Can you just share with our listening audience how you cultivated an attitude toward basketball that required you to practice and be so disciplined, which are critical ingredients for being successful?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question.
Actually, we have to take a break now.
Okay.
So could we start with that after the break? This is a 5-minute break, the longest break of the show.
Okay.
I'm Paul Feiner, Greenburgh Town Supervisor, with a really fascinating program with Pauline Mosley and with Kent Washington, who's a local sports hero who really made history. Washington, Kent Washington was the first American to play pro basketball behind the Iron Curtain. See you right after the break.
Now, back to the Greenburgh Report on 1460 WVOX. Once again, here's Greenburgh Town Supervisor Paul Feiner.
Hi, this is Paul Feiner. I'm the Greenburgh Town Supervisor, and right before the break, we're discussing with Kent Washington some of his experiences making history by being the first American to play pro basketball behind the Iron Curtain. And Pauline Mosley, our co-host, had a question that we couldn't answer because of the break. So, Pauline, do you want to start with that question?
Certainly. I was asking Mr. Kent Washington in Chapter 3, Nuts About Basketball. He speaks about in this chapter the home environment that cultivated him a passion to practice every day and be so disciplined. And my question was, how did you become so disciplined and so focused and know that this was your passion at such an early age? Because these are critical ingredients for being successful.
Yes, that's a great question, astute question, I must say. I realized that I was different than my friends around the age of 12 to 13 when I was practicing basketball in my room with a taped-up hoop over the doorway and a sock. My passion developed through wanting to get better, setting goals, making my junior high school team, watching the older players, the high school players play, and wanting to someday play high school basketball. My parents, realizing my passion, never really interfered. They just allowed me to practice and play as much as I want, as long as my homework got done. My father, Ralph Washington, was the first black detective in New Rochelle. So he was very well known, and he led by silence. I would watch my mother and father work every day, never complain, support my brother and myself. So I didn't get lectured. They just set the tone that hard work, self-discipline, you can reach goals. My brother Kurt, he's 6 years older. He took me to different parks in the Bronx where I could play with older players. So he allowed me to hang out with him. He would choose me in games, and then I would know how it felt to play against older, better basketball players. So they never dabbled. They never came to games and talked about how bad the refereeing was, the coaching was. They just allowed me to practice and play on, my own terms.
I had another question. To become a basketball, star, are there other sports that you have to be good at? For example, do you have to be a good runner?
I grew up in City Park where I did a lot of activities, hide and go seek, Johnny rides the pony, stickball, running around, going fishing, riding bikes, playing dodgeball. I played a little Pop Warner football. And, I knew I was a pretty good athlete. I realized that I had a talent for dribbling the basketball at an early age. So I just stuck with that, using my talent and my work ethic to improve each year. I never did any extra, like as a youth, ran track as well. I just had this knack for playing basketball.
What other advice would you have for somebody who wants to make basketball their career?
Yeah, when I speak to younger people, and I don't get the chance that often, but I do have friends that want me to talk to their kids. I only talk to people who ask for my advice. I don't force it on anyone. In saying that, my book shows my path. Everyone has their own path, and I never tell someone that my path should suit them, because it won't. I practiced too much. I was obsessed with practicing basketball, but that was my path. That was me. I also set goals. I don't dream. Dreaming is something one can do when they're asleep. It requires no energy at all, but work ethic and goal setting does. So I will tell somebody who's looking to play basketball I wouldn't look too far. I look to the next level above the age I am. So I look from elementary school to junior high school, junior high school to our JV team, JV team to our high school team. I never dreamed of playing college basketball. It just happened.
Great. Pauline, do you have another question?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Paul. What I find so inspiring is that you were able to achieve and assimilate in a different country with different people in a language that you didn't even know. Can you share some insight on how you were able to still keep your goals and still be disciplined while dealing and adjusting to a different culture, different people, different language, and you're the only American and Black American at that in this foreign environment, and yet you've made such incredible achievements.
Yeah, I can tell you read the book.
I did. I did, and I encourage the listening audience to please purchase the book. It's you can't put it down.
Thank you so much.
We have another break, so We'll start with this right after the break.
Yes.
I'm Paul Feiner, and then maybe we could, after the break, you could tell people how they could get the book.
Sure.
WVOX. Now back to the Greenburgh Report on 1460 WVOX. Once again, here's Greenburgh Town Supervisor Paul Feiner.
Hi, I'm Paul Feiner with a very interesting program. My guest is Kent Washington, and Kent, I'm really a big fan of you, and really think what you did is really amazing. I'm disappointed that a family member has COVID, so I have to do this program remotely. Before the break, Pauline had a question, and after you answer that, Jim Killeran is on the line. So, Pauline?
Sure. Before the break, I was asking Kent, how did you assimilate in a different country with different people and language, and yet you were so successful, and the achievements that you accomplish is absolutely astounding.
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. I wrote a chapter called Solitude is Bliss, and in that chapter I tried to connect my pre-Polish basketball training through college to my being in actual communist Poland. And what I wanted the reader to understand was, because of my discipline, my focus, that when I trained basketball, I usually train alone. And that put me in a place of solitude where I was one with myself. And that focus allowed me to endure communist culture, because I was okay being alone. I was okay trying to embrace another culture. And in turn, the Polish people embraced me. So I was forced to shed my American standards of constantly thinking, we do things better, we do things this way. I had to understand that Polish people do things their way. And I have to figure that out. And because of my blind passion to play ball, I wanted to stay there. So I just made the best out of the situation, which means you do more with less.
We have a caller who knows you, Jim. Sure. Jim Killeran. Jim, are you on?
Yes. Yep. Hello, Ken.
How you doing, Jim? How are you?
Hey, good. Jak się masz? Dzień dobry. Dzień dobry.
Dzień dobry. Jak się masz? Dobrze, dobrze.
I just want to say, and Shabbat Shalom to Paul and everybody. You know, you and I have met, and I'm amazed that as the more I listen to you, the more you have made strides. And your book should be bought and purchased and celebrated everywhere, even in curriculum in schools. And I was honored to buy 5 of them from you, and I'll keep buying. And we're going to have you book signing on Main Street. So Paul, who's one of my local heroes, Paul is amazing, and sports transcends cultural differences a lot of time. That's been one of the main things that and I played basketball, and it got me to college, and you know, transcend no matter what color, race, background, ethnicity. So, but really to go into communist Poland at a time when Pope John Paul, I think, was there, where Lech Walesa was starting to form, really historic times, and you're part of that great history. So it's an honor to know you. I'm glad you have him on, Paul, and everyone should buy Ken's book and give it a read and take nothing for granted. As he said to me, you know, when we take so much for granted, and you're a worldwide traveler, and may this go across the world. God bless you guys.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to ask Kent how people could get the book, and if you have any book signing plan that you want to announce, and also if the local libraries in Westchester are all have copies of the books. You know, also I'm curious about the Greenburgh Library.
Yes, so Amazon Books is the way one can buy it. There are copies in the Mamaroneck, Larchmont, Bronxville, Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, hopefully soon White Plains, Greenburgh has it. So there are some libraries that do have it. I've done a book talk in the Yonkers Library. Actually, Yonkers has it too. I was just at the Marinick Library. I will be at the Greenburgh Library on next Wednesday, February 15th at 6:30. Not many people show up, It's not like Stephen Curry coming there or LeBron James. Lack of name recognition is what kind of is my worst enemy. I would hope that if somebody bought it, the content is so informational and inspirational. Hopefully they pass the word on. But my name doesn't draw that much attention. I will be at New Rochelle High School has something coming up on Saturday at the Harlem Renaissance in the Rotunda. I'll be signing books there as well.
So when you write a book, marketing the book is really as challenging as becoming a pro basketball.
More so.
This is harder.
Yes, yeah, because when you don't have name recognition, you self-publish, and when you self-publish, you have to actually market it. Now, the book is really being looked at by a lot of Cold War experts, Slavic academics. It's been reviewed by the Harvard Cold War, the Davis Center. It's been reviewed by the Columbia Cold War Center. So Cold War experts are constantly contacting me, wanting to know how I was treated there. Was I spied on? Did our government contact me? They cannot believe that I could go back and forth for 5 years in and out of Poland with no hassle. They are stunned.
Have you looked at, say, the Polish Community Center in Yonkers or in Hastings, because there's a very large Polish community in both communities?
I contacted the Polish church in Yonkers, the priest. He never contacted me back, so,
Yeah, don't give up. Don't get discouraged.
Yeah,
I could try, if you'd like, publicizing your presentation at the Greenburgh Library before Wednesday.
Thank you. That would be nice. I mean, the book, I've just been in contact with the city of Lublin, which I started out in. They're going to subsidize to have the book translated and published in Poland. So that's going to draw a lot of readers. There's a Dutch production company that is researching my background because they want to do a documentary on me.
That is very exciting. Pauline, do you have another question?
I do. This is just so fascinating because when I first picked up the book, I said to myself, "Oh, I'm not, a basketball fan. How am I going to understand this book?" But what I find most intriguing about the book is, I'm an advocate for STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And what I find in your book is so many lessons on how to succeed well in an unknown environments and how to cultivate team players and be part of a team and immerse yourself in the unknown. And I just found it very, very inspirational. And so it's a book for everyone, not just basketball enthusiasts, but even for women who are trying to break barriers within STEM, understanding the wisdom. And a lot of the chapters give you advice and strategies on how to succeed in an uncomfortable environment. So my question to you is, what critical ingredients, I know you mentioned one about being alone, but what other ingredients, even on your team, playing in as a team, how did you get the team to embrace you and play with you, and you immerse yourself as a team player?
Yes, that was by, again, buying into what the team does. You know, when I was asked to take a sauna after each practice, I never took a sauna before. But, you know, since they did it, I did it. And it was very difficult because it was so hot, I could hardly deal with it. But I kept going each day. And by doing that, I showed them I'm part of this team. I'm not me, and then there's you. Things like just practicing, realizing that they played basketball a different way. They played more of a body move, ball moves concept.
Thank you, Ken. We have to take a short break,
Sure, okay.
Ken, but when we come back, you can just elaborate a little bit more on how you were able to adapt and cultivate team spirit, which is so important in breaking barriers and being accepted.
1460 WVOX.
Now back to the Greenburgh Report on 1460 WVOX. Once again, here's Greenburgh Town Supervisor Paul Feiner.
And let's start with Pauline. Do you have another question?
Oh, certainly. How many years did you live in Poland?
I was in Poland from 1979 to 1983. So 4.5 seasons. I would come back 2 months to play in the basketball leagues here. Then I would go back. So I was there pretty much 10 months out of the year for like five seasons.
One of the questions I had is you discussed dribbling a basketball as a supposed Harlem Globetrotter in the Polish cult comedy film Miss. Can you talk about that?
Yes, that's real interesting. So I was probably most likely the first American to be in a communist movie as well. My club received a call, and this director needed me to do a dribbling stunt in a cult comedy, the comedy there. And they described the scene to me whereas the lead man bragged to his girlfriend about what a great basketball player he was when he was young, and he also played with the Harlem Globetrotters. So he goes out, I come in, and I do this dribbling routine to impress his girlfriend. And this movie really becomes this historical cult comedy unbeknown to me, and it's an iconic like scene.
Yeah, I just have another question. When you were in Poland, living there, how were you compensated? Was the compensation a lot of money?
In Polish terms, I was a millionaire. I got 20,000 Polish zloty per month. The average worker probably got around 5. We also got bonus money for wins, so I could make up to 30 to 35,000 zloty per month, which was an enormous amount of money. But
and how much is that in American dollars?
I would not know now. I mean, the currency exchange, that was like 50 years ago. It was basically nothing. I wasn't there to make money.
Right. And did you have what other experiences did you have when you were in Poland? Was it nerve-wracking at times?
The book goes into, I give it if you read it, there's a lot of anecdotes, stories, situations I find myself in, and I tell you about them in a non-judgmental manner, and I allow the reader to judge. Could they deal with that? So, there were things where I became like Polish, slowly but surely. I kind of transformed. I began to speak the language fluently. My grammar wasn't great, and people, when I was with the team and we traveled to France or to Yugoslavia, West Germany, I was a Polish teammate. So there were all kinds of things that happened along the way, things from getting my passport taken in East Germany and them they're acting like they didn't know where it was, to I lived with a woman named Grandma Kowalska Babcha, and she took care of me, and there's all the kind of stories about us. So there's just story and situations there, but nothing was too difficult for me to endure. And of course, I was there during martial law, when there were tanks on the streets and we were distributed like rationing cards, and you have to stand in line for food, and it was trying times. But I take the reader into what I was doing during those times. So you get to see communism through my eyes as non-judgmental as possible.
That was good. One of the things that I found so interesting is how your fans in Poland would like mob you to get autographs. That must have been an exciting experience. The question that I had is, after you came back, was it a big letdown? When you have people crowding around asking for autographs, and then you come back to the United States and you lose that celebrity status. It must be a downer.
Not at all. I lived a double life, which I talk about in the end of the book. I know who I am in the situation I'm in. Sometimes, everybody wants to be popular until you actually are, and there are things that come with popularity that you really wish you didn't get. So thank goodness there were no cell phones there then. No, I was very fine with being Kent Washington here, the average basketball player, and when I went there to Poland, being Kent Washington, the so-called basketball star. I had no problem with my ego on either side. My parents raised me well.
That is great. That's very inspiring. Pauline, do you have another question? We only have, I think, about 2 minutes left.
Yes, I wanted to just ask you in our, closing moments, did it ever occur to you to come back to U.S. and try out for the Lakers or other NBA teams after you achieved such success there as a leverage or negotiation?
Great question. When I was at the Laker camp and I didn't make it, I knew I wasn't an NBA level player. So part of life is knowing what you can do and what you probably cannot do. Mm-hmm. And I have to make a decision on what I can do and where that can take me. Now, if that took me to there and a scout saw me and said, we would like you to sign a contract here, I would probably not, because I practiced to play, not to sit on somebody's bench. And I know I'm not a player who would play in the NBA. I would probably have sat on someone's bench. And at this point, reflecting now, I did something that no other American in this country has done. So I look on that with pride.
Absolutely. You're a true pioneer and a hero, and you are so inspirational and giving so much hope for individuals. If you can't make it in one environment, then try another and make history, which is what you've done.
Great, and I'd like to thank you for joining us today and wish you great success, and I hope your event at the Greenburgh Library is a big success. And what time is that again?
Next Wednesday, February 15th at 6:30.
Terrific. Thanks so much, and best of luck, and we're so lucky to have you in our county.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Great.
This
I'm
is
Paul
very
Feiner,
nice.
and thank you, Pauline, for co-hosting the program. The co-host is Pauline Mosley, Greenburgh resident and Pace University professor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul, and please feel better with your COVID. And thank you again, Kent, for joining the show. Everyone have a wonderful weekend.